Councillor Good, thank you so much for sitting down with me at the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Convention here in beautiful Ottawa, Ontario. What brings a City of Cornwall Councillor to Ottawa for the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Convention?
Hey, Chris.
Hey!
Great to see you again.
Long time no see.
Yeah, I think as a first-term counselor, I really found it valuable to take all of the opportunities that presented themselves for connecting with other municipal leaders from municipalities across the country to see what they're working on, how their challenges are similar and different, and where they've found solutions to problems that we're dealing with. And so far, I've made some really great relationships. This is my third FCM that I've attended, and so now it's kind of fun coming back because you get to see some old friends that really you only get to see once a year. And there's always great information to be had. The seminars are very interesting and they're really pertinent, I think, to what we're facing. And especially following a federal election, we were very fortunate to be here in the capital city of Ottawa. And so we had our Prime Minister, Mark Carney, here yesterday morning. And I think to be able to really remind him the weight that municipalities have and that it's so important to be able to foster those relationships and listen to what we need.
So what are the similarities that you're dealing with in Cornwall that you are hearing across this convention halls these last 3 days?
Housing is absolutely top of mind, I think, everywhere. Definitely looking at, issues around homeless encampments, substance use issues, and trying to find ways to kind of solve those problems. But there's so many, areas that are not necessarily like these big immediate problems where you want to kind of future plan. And so we're actually right next to the Green Municipal Fund. It's not their booth, but their kind of presentation area. And, I know that as the City of Cornwall, we make use of some of their funds. We've received funding from them for various projects, but being able to maximize and have awareness about what the other opportunities are, I think is really valuable.
So what do you get from FCM that the city, what does the City of Cornwall get from FCM that they couldn't get on their own?
I think in ways a camaraderie, knowing that our problems are very similar and that we're all kind of trying to deal with it in different ways. I think that, FCM provides a great platform for municipal leaders to discuss their issues, to connect with one another, to find solutions, and to be able to advocate for those solutions on a national platform.
Now, I have to be a little bit transparent.
Yeah.
You ran for Mark Carney
I did,
in the last federal election. He spoke on day one of the convention. Housing was a big priority for that conversation.
Yeah.
Are you optimistic as a councillor, let's take away the fact that you ran for him, as a councillor, that what he's pitching to FCM as being partners, as being someone who wants to work with municipalities to get these housing built, can get done and can get done collaboratively with municipalities? Are you optimistic with that?
I'm very optimistic about it. I'm generally optimistic in life, so
Yes, you are.
it's characteristic for me. But I think I take what he's saying at face value, and I think that he recognizes as well that we are the ones on the front lines. We're the ones who are responsible for all the infrastructure that enables these housing developments to be built in the first place. So I think standing or sitting in a room like we were in and being able to see physically that this represents the communities all across the country. And if you actually want to be successful in building new houses at the scale that he's proposing, you have to do that in collaboration with municipalities. I'm hopeful that the plan that he's presented is going to really help alleviate some of that pressure. And honestly, even before he had become, the new Liberal leader and had included that proposal for housing within his plan, I was so hopeful that the government would actually get back into building affordable housing. I mean, at a federal level, because it can't just fall on the backs of municipalities. We simply don't have the budget to do that.
So what's next? Because you're going to be heading back to Cornwall here in a few days, and I would be hard-pressed to say that you will probably, if you haven't already, hear the same thing that I hear all the time is all of those politicians just go to those conventions, go party on the taxpayer's dime. what is the tangible action that you bring back to Cornwall that you can say to the people of Cornwall, this is what is the benefit of me being there, and this is what I took home, and this is what we're going to implement? What is the tangible action?
Well, so actually just moments ago, I was emailing with our CAO requesting that he and I have a meeting next week so that I can go through and, talk about the different things that I've come to learn over the course of this conference. And so, yeah, it's fun. We get to party. They feed us and, they booze us up. Pretty much every evening, but there is a lot of tangible that comes out of it. And so I think, just being intentional, like not coming here, attending, walking out and letting it all flounder, but taking that opportunity to connect with our administration and find out how can we actually implement some of these things. And I don't want to give away too much because there's always limitations and factors that impede. And I think, being strategic in how you implement changes is important. I think there are some things that we can do to help support private investment in housing and affordable housing, even if that's just, the 20% below market definition of affordable. It's better than nothing. And we have such a shortage right now. So whatever kind of barriers there are that are impeding, and I'll just use it in our municipality, for example, our height restrictions, I believe it's 12 stories. That's the highest building that we currently have in our city. And so I know right now we have on the table a proposal for an 18 and 20 story kind of joint tower. So it's going to literally tower over everything else in the city. It's it's proposed to be right near the bridge that goes into Akwesasne into the States. And so you will see it from everywhere. But knowing, that those height restrictions just impose one additional barrier for them to be able to develop that. Yeah. Well, can we find some, the carrot and the stick approach, right? And I think we use the stick probably too often, and I think we need to throw some carrots in there.
Councillor Good, it's always a pleasure to catch up with you. Thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thanks so much, Chris. My pleasure.